A house is just a building, but when you put your love, time, and sweat in it, you make it a home. And that's the story here. I'm in Nanyuki visiting another container house, which started out as a tiny house, but ended up being a massive house, one that can accommodate up to 10 people because it's a 5 bedroom house made out of only two 40-feet containers. You'll not believe me until I show you. And the catch is, it has been built by a 75 young woman.
So, of course, I love flowers, so I have to have flowers around me, and I like a porch. Even though here in Nyahururu it's colder than in other parts of Kenya, and people don't sit out as much, it's just a part of who I am to have a porch and a place. So this is my front porch. The containers stop here, and I had them give me 6 more feet here and put pillars so that I can create a front porch. Yeah. So this is it. I raised a kid here. Well, I raised three African students here. And one day I came across this story, and I told the son that I raised here, he was from South Sudan. I said, I want you to hear this story, and then I want you to draw it for me. And what this does, it's a story about an Indian man who would have to carry water from the river to his owner's house. And one day, one of the pots he had cracked, but yet it wasn't completely cracked, but it was leaking. And so every time he would go to get the water, as he's going back, the water is leaking out. And so, I mean, it's kind of a fable, yeah. But it says that one day the cracked pot said to him, I'm so sorry that I lose so much water. So by the time you get to back to the house, I'm not full like the other container. And so when they were going back to the river the next day, he told the crackpot, he said, do you notice that on the side where I bring you, that there are flowers? And the crackpot said, no. He said, because I knew you were dropping water, I planted seeds along the way. So even though you're leaking water, yes, you have given us a beautiful pathway. And so the story just says that there are crackpots in all of us, but there's still some usefulness to God when He uses those cracks that we have. And so it's just been an inspirational story for me to just remind all of us. All of us have some kind of faults or some kind of deficiencies, or we feel like we're not like everybody else, but God uses those things. And I want anybody who comes through this house to know I'm not expecting perfection because I'm not perfect, but God can still use us. Yeah. When I put this thing together, I had this big door here, and I decided, this door is so big because it was from here to here because I didn't know what I was going to take and need. So one day I was in a store and I saw these glasses. So I said, oh, that would be perfect. It'll give me some light, but I can make it smaller. So I had this metal door. I'm like, but it's so plain and so ugly. And I'm walking by this place and I see these things that they use for, I guess, for grills or something. I said, oh, we can make a design for this door and make it beautiful. So that's what this is. It's three of those things nailed together or welded together. Yeah. So welcome to my home. Um, that side is a container and this side is a container. And then this space in the middle is about 14, no, it's 12 feet wide, 12 feet wide. Okay. So when you come in, the general bathroom for any and everybody is this one. We just did dry, what do you call it? Plywood, yeah, and put some tile on it. Um, And then this was going to be a part of this bedroom, and the door was going to be here, but it didn't quite work out. So we just put that little indentation there. So this is the smallest of my bedrooms here. Um, that's that. Then I have the fireplace. I said I must have a fireplace, even if it was the tiniest of house. Yeah. I had to have a fireplace. And do you use it? Absolutely. We will use it tonight. Okay. Absolutely. And then I wanted, I knew that I didn't want to have a lot of furniture. So I wanted to kind of build into the rooms the things that I needed. And so this was a part of my original idea, that I would have an inset in the wall where the fireplace is, so that I could display my pictures. So it worked out. I was able to explain to the fundi, and he did it. This is where we keep the firewood for the fireplace, under that. And then behind the fireplace, because I work for the school and I'm kind of like the keeper of the goods, so I needed a place for like the graduation gowns, the costumes, stuff like that. So behind the fireplace is the storage room. I want to put a door here that is like a saloon door that swings back and forth, but that's to come. Um, so this is the storage area, and it is full to the brim. Okay, with Christmas, as well as the graduation gowns, the costumes for plays, and um, some of the things we need for home science, and the ballet dancers and all of that. All of that equipment is here. Okay. Is this the space we see from the This side? This is the space where the pictures are. Okay. And then this is my little laundry area for ironing and all of that. This is the guest room where Grace is sleeping, and she has her own bathroom and private shower. I still don't have a door here yet, but eventually there will be one. Okay. But I try to make it as convenient for somebody. You have your mirror there, all that. All right. So now you see I have a lot of paintings in my house, and that's because we focus on art a lot at our school, and we have some really talented kids. The kids, well, the art teacher now was one of our students, and much of the work at my house was done by either him or another art student, or several art students. So this was done by one. This is my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. It's like a skyline from that. But the artwork on both sides, behind you, I love flowers, as you know. So I thought my dining room should have that flower thing there. And in case people don't know, these are acrylic mirrors, that are in the form of a tree. So I did that. And let's see, so this container is the one for this side of the house. And so I have my kitchen here. The kitchen will eventually be, what do you call it? With cupboards? Yeah, I'll have walls. I'll have, studs and what do you call it here? Gypsum yes. Walls, and then cabinetry in here. But that's the last thing that I'll do. Right now, I just brought in whatever I had in the rental house. Everything in here is, yeah, it's movable. Everything in here is movable. So we just put it in, and I had the faucet installed. I do have hot water. I bought a hot water tank, and so I have hot water that comes to the kitchen sink. So this is my pantry. The light on there. So since everything in here is portable, I had to have some place to store stuff. Okay. And then this is my own little pathway to my bedroom. But I have to explain, containers are 8 by 40. So when I was adding this room on, the guy said, well, Doris, since we have to cut out this side of the container, if you want, I can move it over 2 feet and your rooms can be more standardized size. So that's what they did. And that's why it looks like this, is because we added 2 feet for each of the containers. So that cut down on the space that I had in the middle. So it gave me a little private little walkway to my bedroom. So this is the master bedroom. And those are my little girls. Okay. And I haven't, I wallpapered part of it. And the wallpaper that you see in my house was a gift from a friend. She was closing down her business in Kitengela. And she said, Therese, I have wallpaper in my garage. Just come and get it. So I was blessed with that. So this is my bathroom, which has not been finished yet. I don't have a shower here, but I do have the toilets and the cabin, the sink. But this, I'm also thinking of leaving it more original, just so that people know it's a container and I'm living in a container and it's okay. But for now, that's what that is. Okay, so when we come through there, then I can come back into the living room. And this is what you see here. Now, let me take you upstairs. Because most people say, you have an upstairs? I'm like, yeah. Where? I said, I just cut off part of the I call this the foyer. Okay. And I put 2.5 feet here of stairway to go up. So welcome to the upstairs. So this is the room that I added at the last minute, is a bedroom, another bedroom, which is over the living room. Okay. So that was kind of an afterthought. But this one was already here. My plan is to have my own office upstairs. And I just recently put a bed in here. Normally it would be a little sofa, but because I'm thinking about doing some writing, I just thought, let me do like I did when I was working on my PhD, be right in the room where I'm writing. When I get tired, I sleep. When I get up, I can be writing. So that's what I've done here. And these are pictures of my mother and my dad, my elder brother. Imagine that's me when I was 16.
Oh.
Okay, and then this is the hallway. I haven't finished the flooring, and I've only got one side wallpapered, but the other side, I have the wallpaper for it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And this is the one the wallpaper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By yourself?
Mm-hmm.
DIY?
Yeah.
Fully DIY?
Totally.
Oh.
Totally. And in fact, just 2 weeks ago,
yes,
I got, what do you call those, scaffolding,
yes,
to finish this side. Because I could not reach this side, for all these years. And I was at Jamar one day and I saw these guys on these big things painting. And I said, who owns these? And the lady told me who I could talk to, and they let me borrow their scaffolding. And I just finished that. So I still have to put the framing and the window for that bedroom. But I call this my reading loft. It's not quite equipped the way I wanted, but I did just put an extra bed here so that when I have extra guests, there's someplace else somebody can sleep. But it'll be more, a lot of the books that are in my office, I'm going to bring on this side just so that I have more space over there for writing and work like that. But yeah.
What else have you DIY'd?
Well, I try to use, fundies and people that are around. So there's some things I could do myself, but I let them do it. I know how to upholster, furniture, but at 75, I just said, you really don't have to prove anything anymore. So I let them do that for me. So yeah, so all of the furniture that you saw in the kitchen, I designed it, and then I just told them what to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the room you're most impressed by? What's your favorite room?
Right now, my favorite room is the office because the coziness of it. And I really started out as a tiny house.
Yes.
So that kind of just gives me the feel of closeness that I want. I can put the space heater in there and I am totally warm. So that's kind of my favorite, but I love my patio where we'll go now. Okay. I love my patio. Um, it just makes me feel more like I'm at home in Georgia, just being outside. And we are fortunate here in Nyahururu that the mosquitoes are not that bad. And as far as transporting malaria, we do have mosquitoes, but you can sit outside, for the longest and not be eaten up. So I added a laundry room on this side. It's part of that container, and I just put a wall in there so that I could do that. And then, as I told you, just recently added this patio. And eventually, that will be a fireplace and grill and a little, I would say, wet bar, or at least a beverage area out here. Yeah. So let's see the SQ. So this is my storage room, and there's a complete bath and shower on this end back here for the person who has to stay in my small room out here. I really like this side of the house too. I want whoever has to stay here to at least have a space where they feel comfortable, and it can be private if they want. I do need to go on and put a clothesline out here and cover it, just because sometimes when my dryer is not working, you can hang clothes. But for now, because of my garden fencing around it, we can hang our clothes out there. Yeah. So I added this on. This was part of my porch, my front porch, but now it's a room for somebody who needs to sleep, and I have cabinetry here so they can hang their clothes or whatever. Yeah. So, and they say it's not that cold. So, yeah, I usually have somebody here about every other week, if not, during the week. Just someone who either is passing through and just need to stop. And because we are ladies that live in my house, I tell the men, my house is a ladies' house. So if you need to stay overnight, it's going to be outside. Outside. So, but this is, yeah, this is what God did. And it's marvelous in my sight. Um, this was something from one of our Christmas plays. So it stays at my house. But I think they need to also see that I hear my daughter. You're home. Hey. So this is the lady you all need to meet. Okay. Yes, tell him what I said. Okay. So, so we even have place for people to practice. But come see my. These are my babies. These are my guard dogs, my watchmen, and the smallest one makes the most noise. Missy, it's okay, little girl. Now she can be beautiful white, but she likes to dig under the house. See, look, I mean, they're making holes there. So I just don't wash her as often now. Yeah. But when I lived in West Africa, we ate potato leaves all the time. So when I found out I can grow potato leaves here, most of my shamba is potato leaves. So potatoes, but I bring seeds from the U.S. and I do the pyramid farming. And so all of my veggies, not all, but most of them come from here. Yeah.
What about fruit trees?
I have the bananas, and this is my second harvest of the bananas. I have orange, I have lemon, I have pomegranate, and then I have another orange there.
Do you intend to add any more?
Yes. Okay. I'm talking to someone now about avocado. Yeah. So, hey, Missy, pretty girl, please. So yeah, this is the Lord's doing, and the first thing I did before the container came was to build this garden. But I just recently gave them part of it so that they're not running everywhere. They used to be free to go all the way around. Yeah. Hi. 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 Oh, they're so jealous. You see now what? They are so jealous. Hi, Peppa. Missy, quiet. Hi. Come here, mister. I said mister. Come on. It's mister's turn. Hi, baby. Hi, mister. Hello, baby. Hi. Hi. Yeah. Okay, we'll go see my gate. Yeah. So my plan here is I want this bougainvillea to be completely packed and making a big arch here so that it could be a photo center. You know, funny thing is, I've had people to actually come and lay down here so they get the yeah, that's funny. So Gauja is my surname. It's my husband's name, who's West African, but it's our family name. So I wanted it to be here. So that's what that is. And then on that side, to God be the glory, because He's the one that made it possible. And I give Him all the honor and the glory for it. Yeah. Oh, who am I? Hey, I am Doris Ellen Gauja. Ellen is my mother's name. I am her first daughter. So she named me after herself. Yes. But she gave me another name first. I grew up in Mississippi, a southern state in the United States. But then later, my mother married and we moved west to Los Angeles. And so I actually grew up from elementary school in Los Angeles, California. And always, well, I wouldn't say always, in the seventh grade is when I took an interest in Africa. And I just said that one day I must see this place called Kilimanjaro. It sounded so exotic. And I was like, I must go there. I must go there. And then from seventh grade, eighth grade, we had to choose a language. So I chose French. First, I chose Spanish. No, French. And then Spanish. And then all the way through high school, I did two languages. And I envisioned myself being a diplomatic interpreter. But then I became born again when I was 13. And my interest in the things of God really grew to the point that I would sneak into my parents' bedroom when my dad was not home. He was a minister. He would have biblical books, and I would sneak in there and read them. And then I started listening to Christian radio. And the Christian radio talked about people in other countries. So it just expanded my little brain that there are other people, other worlds, and I just wanted to know about them. And so with this guy tweaking my interest in Africa, yes, it just became something I wanted, is to go to Africa one day and to see this place. Long story short, I really committed my life to Christ throughout my teenage years. And by 17, missionaries had come to our church, and God just started to tug on my heart. But I had become very involved in political things as a high school teenager. And I decided to major in political science in
Yes.
college. But while in my first year, it dawned on me that I really didn't know much about my faith. And I thought, wow, I'm in this institution of higher learning, but I say I'm a Christian and I don't really know my own faith that much that I could defend it or even talk about it to people. So I was challenged my first year because one psychology professor said, if you are a Christian, you will not be a Christian when you leave my class. So I was like, no, that can't be. I love Jesus and I want to know more about him. That year, I came home on Christmas break, attended a revival, and I really rededicated my life to Christ. So I asked God at that time, help me choose the right career for my life that was going to honor you and do what he wanted me to do. Long story short, I learned of an organization, became a student of that organization. I left university to pursue becoming a missionary. I am first and foremost a believer.
Yes.
In Jesus Christ. And I am a person who knows that my purpose in life is to make Jesus Christ known.
Yes.
Um, through various means. I believe that he uses my talent, he uses my education, which he allowed me to have. Um, he uses me to expand the kingdom and to live out the kingdom while sharing it. So that's why I'm here in Kenya.
Yes.
I was, after becoming a missionary candidate at a missionary training school, I chose West Africa because I believe that ancestrally my roots are somewhere in West Africa. So I became a missionary in my young 20s, in my 20s, and I was in Sierra Leone, West Africa. But I always heard about Kenya, and a lot of the religious material that we used in Sierra Leone came from Kenya. So in the back of my mind, I always wanted to come and see what East Africa was like, not knowing that, God's ultimate plan would have me here.
Yes.
Um, so years later, after marrying a West African, having a child, raising my kid in the US, the Lord just kind of let me know that he wasn't finished with me on the continent. And the opportunity to come here was through a very close friend of mine. We both were involved in missions, but she asked me if I would come um, and help her do a seminar at this place in Kenya. So that's how I got to know Pace Ministries and Pastor Washira Gamal and his wife Glenda. And so I'm in Kenya because of their ministry. Their ministry sponsors and supports education at various levels over the 35 years, now going on 36 years that their ministry has been established here in Nyahururu. Um, they have done vocational education, they've done community education, training people in poultry development and farming, animal protection and stuff like that, and traditional education, nursery school, primary school, and now the JSS and high school. And then there was a time for about 10 years we had a Bible school. I was invited to come and teach in their Bible school. And I did that for over 10 years.
Yes.
But my passion has always been with youth.
Mm.
So after serving the organization as a here you call it a lecturer.
Yes.
I don't particularly care for that term because that's not the modus of education that I use.
Yes.
Um, and having done that for quite a while, I was invited to be a part of the administrative staff. So from administration to what I'm doing now is still administration, but I'm also serving as the academic dean for the three schools that we have:
Mm.
primary, junior secondary, and high school. So that's why I'm here. But in 2010, I went to visit some missionary friends of mine who lived in Rongai, and on their compound there was this container, a 20-foot one,
Yes.
that they had turned into a children's playhouse because they had a lot of kids, and they had it up on stilts, you know. So they had like their first floor, their ground floor play area, and then when they wanted to go upstairs, they had this container upstairs. And another friend who was renting part of uh, uh, a house, I mean, an apartment within their compound. She's she and I was talking one day, and she said, "My ministry takes me to Kenya, Tanzania, and Malawi, and one other country." And she said, "My goal is to build a container house, have it on wheels, so that when I'm working in Kenya, I'm in my own house.
Yes.
Then we take it down to Malawi." I'm like, wow, that's a thought. And then kind of lost contact with her. She went back to the States, but the thought never left me. And so from 2010, I've been just looking online and on the internet here and there at container houses or people who are building, tiny homes from containers. It tweaked my interest more when I realized that here in Nyahururu, the homes are built with stone and cement. And inside the home, there's this fuzzy stuff on the wall that I have to clean, and it would be irritating to me. I didn't understand what it was for a long time, but over time I came to realize that there's moisture still in the wall, and then there's mold. I'm like, oh my goodness. So if I build a house here, I need something that is different from that, because I don't want to build something that is going to create mold and you know make my allergies worse.
How was the building process for you?
What was unique for me, I think, because I don't know what other people who have built containers go through, um, but I felt that it seemed like nobody around here was doing anything but stone houses. And I was eager to find how, if I was to build something differently, how would I even go about it, since I don't even know. But I knew I didn't want that. So I came across cubes and containers online. I'm like, cubes and containers. Look at this. Look what they're doing. And that must have been like in,
I think 2020. No, 2019.
when did you start?
2018.
I
You
think it was
visited
around
me
it. Yeah, it was
2019.
before COVID.
Yeah.
I called you from Nairobi once I got there, and you told me how to get to Timau, or not,
Syokimau.
yeah, whatever that place was called. And then you walked me through, walking down to where you were, and I was just delighted. And then to meet you,
Yes.
a young person, I'm like, this girl is in her 20s,
I was 24.
and she's so focused, and she knows what she's doing too. I was overwhelmed with joy that
Yes.
you were doing that,
Yes.
and that just made me start investigating more and more.
So after you got the container, I know we didn't build the home for you. This you've built by yourself. How was the process? How was the journey, considering you were dealing with the local fundies?
Oh,
How was
yeah.
it